Perfect. So I'm very, very pleased to introduce Sharon Ashton with us today. Sharon is a certified Wayfinder life coach and yoga teacher with training in mind-body therapy, yoga psychology, and mindfulness-based stress reduction. In addition to being a life coach, she also currently works as a school psychoeducational consultant and is a retired registered psychotherapist. Through life and mindset coaching and slow mindful yoga practices, Sharon is passionate about helping others move into their most authentic and joyous lives. So Sharon, I'll pass it over to you for our presentation, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I really appreciate that. In my role and experience as a mindset coach and yoga teacher, as well as my work in school psychology, I see a lot of people who are anxious, stressed, and overwhelmed, and that's just in their regular daily lives. Adding additional stressors such as a cancer diagnosis and treatment or becoming a caregiver for a loved one who needs our help, which is something I've also personally experienced and know well, compounds those feelings. My hope is that by the end of today's presentation, I'll be leaving you with some mindful self-care practices and tools that you can use right away to ease stress and create calm. So here's a quote to start from the Buddha. Don't try to calm the storm. Calm yourself. The storm will pass. And I've got another quote from Jerry Larkin. Calmness is a huge gift, and once you master it, you will be able to respond in a useful way to every difficult situation that decides to walk into your heart. So before we get started with the presentation today, I'd like to take a minute or two to ground ourselves and connect with this moment. It's wonderful that you're taking this time to look after yourselves, and I really hope that you'll give yourselves this gift. So I invite you to turn off your cell phone, close all the windows except this one on your computer, minimize all other distractions, and arrive here at this moment. Wherever you are, I invite you to get as comfortable as possible. If you're sitting in a chair like I am, sit up tall and feel your feet connect to the floor beneath you. Adjust yourself in the seat if you need to. With your spine tall, your sits bones connected to the chair, and your feet firmly planted on the ground, I'll now invite you to roll your shoulders down and back and then close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or simply lower your gaze. Now begin to notice your breath moving in and out of your body. Don't try to change it, just notice. And as you sit and begin to relax, you may notice that your inhales and exhales are getting longer. That's great. On an in-breath, feel the air filling your belly and chest. And on an exhale, really let everything go. You can place your hands on your belly to feel the rise and fall if that feels comfortable to you. And as you're sitting here breathing, really notice how your body is feeling. Place your awareness on your feet and slowly move that awareness up through your body, doing a brief body scan. Take note of all pleasant and not so pleasant sensations. If any area of your body needs some extra love and attention, you can visualize sending the breath there. Now take 3 deep breaths in your own time. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. I hope you feel a little bit more grounded and centered as we get started, no matter what was going on in your day before you came to this presentation. So during this presentation today, it's my intention to give you a little bit of background on the physiology of stress, We're going to talk about self-care and why it is important. After that, we'll get into talking about how to cultivate calm. And then we'll look at self-care practices and what I call the daily 3 M's. We'll look at these from a mind, body, heart, and soul perspective because they're all connected and impact each other. So first, the physiology of stress. Our feelings and emotions are what cause us to behave in certain ways, so they're really important for our mental health. When you're feeling stressed, you may not be thinking clearly and may not be able to respond appropriately. When you're feeling calm, however, you're much more likely to come up with solutions and a way out of the problem. That means feeling calmed, which is defined as a quiet and peaceful state or condition, or a peaceful mental or emotional state, is ideal. When we're calm, we're able to think more clearly, come up with more creative solutions, and feel more confident and peaceful during any chaotic situation. It's important to remember that along with calm, stress is a feeling as well. Whenever we feel a certain way, and feelings include, for example, happy, sad, mad, overwhelmed, frustrated, irritated, stressed, etc., it isn't the circumstance that's causing the feeling. It is our thoughts about the circumstance that are producing the feelings of stress. So how do you calm an anxious, stressed out mind? The first step is to stop trying to control things that are out of our control. As spiritual teacher Byron Katie says, there are only 3 kinds of business in this universe: mine, yours, and God's. We need to remember we can only control ourselves, and the good news is that that includes our thoughts. What that means is if you're feeling stressed, there is a thought behind it, and you can change that thought. We'll talk about some suggestions for calming your thoughts in a moment. Stress results in physiological changes in the body. In times of extreme stress, our bodies produce a hormone called adrenaline. That's what causes our heart to beat faster, our breath to become shallower, and can lead to those anxious feelings most of us are very familiar with. Dr. Dan Siegel came up with the term window of tolerance to describe our understanding of normal brain and physiological responses to stress in the nervous system. And as you can see, I've got a chart here that shows his window of tolerance. So too much stress is a state of hyperarousal, which you'll see in the top portion where it's red, and includes feelings such as anger, anxiety, stress, overwhelm, and the fight-flight responses. In contrast, if you look down below in the dark blue area, you'll see hypoarousal, and that's a state of inertia where we are passive, withdrawn, freeze, and feel depressed. So the optimum state then is in the middle. That's where we feel grounded, stable, and make good decisions. That's our place of calm. So as you can see in the yellow line in the diagram, throughout the day, our stress arousal fluctuates depending on what we are doing. It's normal to go up and down throughout the day. Uncomfortable symptoms of anxiety and stress occur when we go above the window of tolerance. At that point, we need to start engaging in some self-regulation and self-soothing behaviors to get us back into our window. And that's where mindful practices are really useful. With practice, we learn how to recognize when we're reaching our maximum in the window of tolerance, and then we may perhaps try to connect with the breath, go for a mindful walk, or engage in some gentle exercise. We'll talk more about those practices in a few moments. When we go beyond the window and the stress builds, it is sometimes necessary to find ways to get rid of the excess stress before we can soothe ourselves with breathing and slower practices. Sometimes we're just too agitated to slow down. At that point, some form of movement is often helpful, such as a brisk walk, or running or jogging if you can do that, dancing, bike riding, anywhere where we can raise our heart rate. before engaging in slower, more reflective practices. Okay. So, as I mentioned, any stress we feel is caused by our thoughts, not the circumstances. And here are some suggestions for calming your thoughts in stressful situations. The first step is always to connect with your breath. If possible, become still and grounded and then begin to breathe. Just taking a few deeper breaths will give you the opportunity to start noticing your thoughts and get your bearing on what's going on. Once you've had some time to ground yourself, begin to notice your thoughts. I'll give you an example. Perhaps you're in a crowded room with loud music and are having the thought, I don't want to be here. That thought will likely cause feelings of stress. Allow the feeling to be there. Be present with it. Breathe into the feeling. Don't resist it. Resistance only causes our brain to fight harder to keep the thought. Once you're thinking clearly, ask yourself if this is a situation that you can change. If you can't change the circumstance, how can you change your thoughts about the circumstance? For example, if you have to stay in the crowded room that I mentioned, how can you make it more tolerable for yourself? Perhaps instead of holding on to the thought, I don't want to be here, you could remind yourself that it'll be over soon. Or perhaps you can find someone you like to go talk to, or maybe there's a quiet corner where you can go sit. Once you've spent some time breathing and grounding, you may see more options. So what is self-care and why is it so important? Self-care is doing all the things you need to do to look after your physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual well-being. We engage in self-care when we live intentionally through choosing healthy foods, maintaining good sleep habits, moving our body through exercise, looking after our physical health through medical and dental checkups, brushing our teeth regularly, etc., etc. Self-care also includes connecting with others when we need to, engaging in hobbies that make us happy, and regularly checking in with what we need. So why does self-care matter? When we're not engaging in proper self-care, it affects every aspect of our lives. If we don't look after ourselves, we don't feel well, our relationships suffer, and life is generally not fun. Some of the important health benefits of self-care include reducing symptoms of anxiety and depression, helping to build resilience to reduce stress, more energy for the things that you need or want to do, you'll feel less overwhelmed and burned out, and improved social relationships. As you can see, taking time for self-care is really important for your overall health and well-being. So why do we want to cultivate calm? I love this quote by Brené Brown. Calm is a superpower. I think it says it all. As I already mentioned, calm is defined as a peaceful mental or emotional state. When you're in a peaceful mental or emotional state, you are able to think more clearly when life is chaotic, be more creative, solve problems more efficiently, and generally enjoy life more. An added bonus is that you'll be strengthening your immune system and you'll physically feel better as well. All of this leads to feeling more hopeful and optimistic. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? No wonder calm is referred to as a superpower. Okay, now that we have some foundation set and have a basic understanding of the stress response and why self-care practices are necessary to cultivate calm, let's take a look at some of the mindful practices that you can use to find calm and peace when you most need it. Okay, we're going to talk about several different mindful self-care practices, and all of them fall into one or more categories of what I call the daily 3 M's. I actually really like to call them the magic daily 3 M's because I really feel they are like that. So the daily 3 M's include meditation and breath practices, movement, such as mindful yoga, and mindful or reflective writing. If you do at least one practice in each of these categories every day, you'll be well on your way to creating a calm life. A practice is just that, though, a practice. It doesn't need to be done perfectly. It's just important to make sure that you do it intentionally and make practices into daily habits and routines. The really good news is that these practices don't need to take long. They certainly can be longer if you have the time, but you can break these down into a minute or two sprinkled throughout your day. That's what I said, even a minute or two will be beneficial. So let's go through some of the practices that I include in the daily 3 M's. So there are many ways to incorporate meditation and breath practices into your day, and you don't need a long time. By simply becoming aware of your breath, you can change your physiological, mental, and emotional well-being. It really is that easy, and with practice, you'll do it without even thinking about it. One way you can do it is just start by taking 3 deep breaths when you wake up in the morning. You can even take just 1 deep breath. Make a point of regularly checking in with yourself throughout the day. Breath work in the evening before bed can be magical in helping you get to sleep. It truly can be. And here's some great reasons to start a daily meditation and or breath practice. So you'll have increased resilience to stress, you'll focus better, you'll get to sleep faster, you'll have more clarity on your goals. There's all kinds of reasons. Meditation can be done seated, lying down, or while walking, and can be as little as 1 minute, as I said before, or as long as you have time for. So let's first look at the breath practices, which are also called pranayama in yoga. And I've put down some examples here on the slide. There are many, many, many breath practices. These are just a few of my favorite. So I'll give you a few examples of some quick breath practices you can do. The first one is diaphragmatic or belly breathing. So to do that, you can just place your hands on your belly if you'd like, and take some deep breaths and feel your belly going in and out as you're breathing. You can also, if you'd like to, at the same time, you can have a hand on your belly and then have another hand on your chest and feel your lungs also expanding and contracting as you breathe. There's deep breathing, which is just as it sounds. Take long, slow, deep breaths in and out. Here's a fun one that the kids sometimes like to do at school. This one's called lion's breath. And lion's breath is wonderful if you're feeling really stressed. I'll demonstrate it for you. You can feel like you're looking a little silly as you're doing it, but boy, does it feel good. So you take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you stick your tongue out and really let go of the breath. Do that a few times and it'll really help you to calm down if you're feeling anxious. The next one is called ocean breath. Ocean breath is when you breathe in and out with your mouth closed, you take a breath in, and on your exhale, I'm not sure if you could hear that, but I'm breathing down through the back of my throat area, and it sounds like the ocean as you're doing that. Again, when you're concentrating on doing these things, that's what helps calm the nervous system. And then the final one I have here is box breathing. So you can imagine in your mind that you've got a box, and normally we do this with, it can also be called 4x4 breath. So what you can do is Inhale to a count of 4, pause for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and then pause again for a count of 4. So you're going inhale for 4, pause for 4, exhale for 4, pause for 4. You're making the shape of a box. In the next section here, another something else I include with meditation and breath practices are affirmations or setting intentions. I love to set an intention when I wake up in the morning. You can set an intention before you do a yoga practice. You can set intentions before going into meetings if you've got an appointment. What it is how do I want to feel? I will be calm today. There is an example of an intention. And then we have affirmations. You can say things to yourself like, I am well, or I am grateful. I am grateful for all I have. You can repeat these daily affirmations throughout the day to help cultivate gratitude and also just to help lift your mood. I find those really helpful to do. Also, there's a lot of overlap here too, because as you see, when we get into the mindful writing section, you can use them in your mindful writing too. You can use them while you're exercising. You can use them during your breath practice. A lot of these overlap into each other. And then the final section I've got here is guided meditations and visualizations. These are perfect if you're a beginner. I know that when I first started doing meditation, I loved to do particularly guided meditations and visualizations, because what it does is it helps you from having to think that you need to sit there quietly. It helps that wandering mind. It just makes things a little easier. Something that I do regularly and I love to do is a body scan. So you can sit quietly and just start noticing. Move up from your toes right to the top of your head, or from the top of your head down to your toes. Just take a quick scan to see, how is my body feeling today? And other examples of guided meditations and visualizations are loving kindness meditations, gratitude meditations, and guided visual journeys. Just gonna take a little sip of water. Just a second. Okay, so here's I thought we could do a short breath exercise together, and this is a perfect one to do the next time that you're feeling really stressed. Sometimes the most important thing in a whole day is the rest we take between two deep breaths. That's a quote by Eddie Hillesum. Okay, so if possible, and if it's comfortable for you, I'll invite you to close your eyes. If that's not comfortable, you can just softly lower your gaze. You can be seated or lying down, whatever is most comfortable for you. And once you've gotten yourself comfortable, I'll invite you to connect with your breath. Notice how it flows in and out through your nose. Notice all the feelings and sensations. Does it feel cool or warm? On an in-breath, repeat the words, I breathe in calm. So as you're breathing in, just repeat the words silently to yourself, I breathe in calm. And on an out-breath, repeat the words, I breathe out stress. I breathe in calm. I breathe out stress. Keep breathing in this way, repeating the mantra until you start to feel calmer. Let's just breathe in calm, breathe out stress. And once you feel calmer, you can gently bring yourself back to your surroundings. Now, did you see how that didn't take very long? And it's something that you can do anytime that you're feeling really stressed. All right, daily 3M number 2 is mindful movement. And mindful movement can include all sorts of different types of movement. There's many different kinds. So one of the things that makes it mindful is letting your breath guide the movement. So you can do any sort of different yoga, you can do walking meditations, there's Pilates, there's running, there's Tai Chi. I haven't got that on here. There's any other sort of mindful movement, anything that involves you doing something intentionally, paying attention in the present moment, and letting the breath guide you. So what's my favorite? Slow mindful yoga. Why is that? Because slow mindful yoga helps you connect to yourself. It combines breath, meditation, and movement. It gets you out of your head where all those stressful thoughts are swirling around and into your body. When people are struggling with anxiety and overwhelm and are looking for calm, one of the problems is that they are out of touch with their body. They are too much in their minds. Connecting back with the body is exactly what is needed. Yoga helps you to become friends with your body so that it can become your inner compass. It helps loosen tight muscles to get better range of movement. As your breath deepens, you become calmer. It's a form of self-compassion and kindness towards yourself. When you really begin to notice how your body is moving and how you are feeling, it can shift your thinking and actually result in changes in the brain. I think that's all pretty impressive. It's important to know how you're feeling so that you can make good decisions. Instead of reacting, you can respond appropriately. Mindful yoga movement allows your body to connect to your mind and make those subtle shifts in your thinking. Knowing how you feel helps you to align yourself with your values and your integrity. You get to connect with your why and learn who you are. Yoga also helps with developing proprioception, which is that's the knowledge of where your body is in space, and interoception, how your body feels, they're both really important when it comes to emotions like anxiety. The practice becomes an exploration of self. Through mindful yoga, you can lessen pain and improve your mental and emotional health. All of this will help reduce stress and anxiety, build greater resilience, and cultivate calm. So again, what makes it mindful? Paying attention in the present moment and letting your breath guide the movement. So I thought we could try a couple of short mindful yoga practices. You could do these together on your own. You can do them separately. They're both short. They can be done any time of the day. You can stay seated in your chair, or if you're feeling like your body's telling you it's time to get up and move around a little bit, you can do them from standing as well. We'll start with a practice where we alternately tense and relax the muscles. This is a great practice to do if you're feeling anxious or stressed and doesn't take long. It really will help you create calm. It combines movement with interoceptive awareness. And remember, I said interoceptive awareness is that awareness of what's going on in your body. So first, we'll take a moment of interoceptive awareness, and I'll invite you to just notice how you're feeling before we get started. You may want to close your eyes for a few seconds, or if that's not comfortable, then just softly lower your gaze. That's always an option. Feel into your body and notice where you feel any tension. Now, if you had your eyes closed, I'll invite you to open them. And then I'll invite you to squeeze your hands into fists as tight as you possibly, as tight as you possibly can. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And now relax your hands. Next, push your shoulders up to your ears. Push, push, push. Keep pushing. Hold for a few seconds. And now relax your shoulders back down. Now push the heels of your feet down into the floor. Really push your heels into the floor. Keep pushing. And now relax your feet. Now tense the muscles in your stomach as tightly as you can. Really hold in your stomach. Hold, hold, hold. And now relax your stomach. Let's take a few moments to notice. We'll do that interoceptive awareness. How do you feel now? Does your body feel any different than it did before we started this exercise? You may find that your body feels just a little bit more relaxed. This tension release exercise is so simple and usually really effective in calming the nervous system. So next, what I'd like to do is a movement that's really good for your spine, and especially if you spend a lot of time sitting. Our spine has a big job to do every day holding us up as we move, and it's important to keep it healthy. This exercise can also be done seated or standing. And remember, I really do want to remind you though, before we start, that you always need to listen to your body when you're doing any sort of movement exercise. These are intentionally very gentle movements that I'm doing today, but if anything feels uncomfortable, please listen to your body and don't do it, or adapt it and just do it a little bit less to fit your needs. You know what is right for you all the time. Okay, so again, let's just take a few moments of that interoceptive awareness before we get started. How is your body feeling? As you're sitting here noticing all your various bodily sensations, I'll get you to begin noticing your breath as well. So we're going to make the breath with the movement. We like to link our breath to the movement. When you're ready, we'll start with a few shoulder rolls just to get us seated up tall. So let's just roll your shoulders down and back a couple of times. Maybe roll your shoulders forward a couple of times. Maybe take them up and down. And then just sit up tall. So this will encourage your spine to become tall, whether you're standing or sitting. So now we're going to take the movement 6 directions through our spine. So with your arms down by your side, on an inhale, I'll invite you to take your arms up over your head. Clasp your hands over your head. Inhale in. And on an exhale, bend gently to the right. You don't need to go very far. This is a very gentle move, and you should feel a stretch up the left-hand side of your body. Exhale back to center. Inhale again. And exhale over to the left. This time you'll feel a gentle stretch up the right side of your body. Inhale back to center and exhale your arms down. Just notice how you're feeling for a moment. Now, if you've done yoga before, you'll be familiar with the term cat-cow. We're going to do a seated cat-cow. So what I'm going to invite you to do is lift your arms up into like a goal post. We can call this goal post or cactus arms. So you've got your arms with your hands going straight up. And on an inhale, I'll invite you to gently just stick your chest out in front, maybe have your eyes look up towards the ceiling. So you're just doing a baby back bend. And on an exhale, I'll get you to round forward and touch your elbows and hands together and chin to your chest. And we'll inhale, take your eyes up to the ceiling, chest out. And exhale forward. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. And exhale. And now release your arms back down to your mat, down to your lap. Notice how that makes you feel. And now we've got one more movement. We're going to do a little seated twist. So I will invite you to take your left hand and put it on the upper right-hand corner of your chair if you're seated. Take your right hand behind you on the back right-hand corner of your chair. You're sitting up tall and you're still facing forward. Inhale in. And on an exhale, just gently turn to maybe start looking over your right shoulder. Again, don't crank anything. This is a very gentle move. Inhale in here again. And exhale, gently look over your right shoulder. You can maybe move a little farther this time. Inhale in again. And exhale back to center. Let's try that on the other side. So you're going to take your right hand to the left-hand side, front corner of your chair. You're going to take your left hand and you're going to put it behind you on the back left-hand corner of your chair. So you have your right hand on the top, the left hand on the back. Inhale in, sit up tall. And on exhale, gently turn and look over your left shoulder. Inhale again and again. Exhale, look over a little bit farther if you can. Inhale in again. And exhale back to center. You've just moved your spine in 6 directions, which is just wonderful to keep your spine healthy. So let's pause for a few moments for some interoceptive awareness. How are you feeling after doing all of that spinal movement? We've just moved our spine in 6 directions, side to side. We've rounded forward and back, and we've done a little bit of a twist. It didn't take very long, did it? I encourage you to gently stretch your spine like this every single day if you can. Okay, the final daily 3M, or number 3, is mindful or reflective writing. So mindful writing is what has become one of the most important habits I engage in every single day. So I do my movement, I do my meditation, but mindful writing has become key. I could do an entire workshop on the benefits of journaling for not just your mindset, but your overall health. Here's a brief overview of some of the kinds of mindful journaling and the benefits in your life. Now, this is not an exhaustive list. There are lots of different ways that you can journal. This is just some of the ways, and I do encourage you to look into more because it's absolutely a wonderful practice, and you'll learn more about yourself. It can be incorporated, as I said, into your breath and meditation practices and your movement practices. So you can do mindful writing. You can do it in the morning, evening, or any time of day. I love doing it in the morning. That's I think, a perfect time for me to do some writing. I do it sometimes late in the day as well. Love to do it in the morning. You can just write down your affirmations, your intentions, like we spoke about earlier. Do you see how all of these practices are interconnected and they fall into different categories? You can simply write lists. If you don't have anything to write down your to-do list. Just write down lists of things to do. You can write down your dreams. You can just do stream of consciousness writing, where you just write without worrying about any sort of grammar or punctuation, just write whatever's in your mind. You can do something that's called bullet journaling. There's lots of instructions for this type of journaling on YouTube. It's not something that I do, but I do know a lot of people who do it. You can make vision boards. So this combines writing with pictures of how you want your life to go. We do a lot of that in the coaching practice. And doodling. You can just draw little pictures if you want. You don't have to be an artist. There's a misconception that you need to be, we think we're not artistic. We're all artistic. Even if you can only draw stick figures, you can do it all. I have gratitude journaling separate here because this is a very important practice. And I think that this, if you do none of the others, then just thinking about what you're grateful every day is something that would be wonderful to incorporate into your day. So there's many ways to incorporate this habit into your day. Here's what I do. Every morning when I wake up, before I get out of bed, I say the words, thank you. That's it. Just thank you. Sometimes I get more specific. For example, I might say, thank you for another day. I know it sounds cliche, and I know you've heard that a lot, and you might even be rolling your eyes at this point, but it really helps to set you up for a good start to the day. Other ways to incorporate a gratitude practice include keeping a gratitude journal. So just write down 3 to 5 things that you're thankful for every day. Write a note of thanks to someone who has helped you. Go outside and enjoy the beauty of nature. compliment someone. And you can include gratitude in your meditation or yoga practice or your any sort of mindful movement practices. So the possibilities are endless. So what all these practices include in the daily 3Ms, the meditation and breath practices, the mindful movement, and the mindful writing, they all have in common is you need to pay attention. They get you to pay attention in the present moment. You set intentions. Well, you intentionally do these practices. And the biggest one is you're focusing on the breath. The breath is with us all the time. And it's something that's involved in every one of these practices. You can add some other things to your self-care, these self-care practices too, to make them even more special for yourself. Add some candles, add some music, add some lighting, any other ambiance to your practice that will create even more calm. All right, I have some final thoughts for you today. Today, we've talked about stress and how it's a feeling related to your thoughts about your circumstances. We looked at the physiology of stress, why self-care is important, and different ways to create calm and self-care practices that I refer to as the magic daily 3Ms that will help you create calm every single day. I encourage you to add these calming mindful practices, which are meditation, movement, and mindful writing to your everyday life to ease stress and create calm. I'd like to leave you with a short self-compassion meditation. This is a meditation you can do anytime you feel like you need some extra self-care. We don't give ourselves enough self-compassion, and it's something I highly encourage. So once again, get comfortable in your seat and make any necessary adjustments. And if you feel comfortable, close your eyes or lower your gaze and connect with your breathing. When you feel settled, begin to notice your bodily sensations and notice any emotions that are coming up for you. What are you noticing? Breathe into those sensations and feelings and allow yourself to feel what you feel. As you are breathing into the sensations and allowing your feelings, if it is comfortable for you, bring your hands over your heart. Feel the warmth of your hands and notice your own gentle touch. Let your hands send a feeling of caring through your heart space. Repeat the words, "May I be kind to myself. May I be kind to myself." Just repeat them silently to yourself. May I be kind to myself. May I be well and free from suffering. May I be well and free from suffering. May I be well and free from suffering. May I be happy. May I be happy. May I be happy. Just sit and breathe for a few more breaths. And when you're ready, you can gently release your hands back down to your lap. Open your eyes when you're ready and gently bring yourself back to your surroundings. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I wish you well. Namaste.